Welcome to the NWR Mining Resources Series. We've got Dart Mining on the line. Dart Mining currently has one of the largest tenement footprints in Victoria, with a diverse exploration portfolio in the highly prospective northeast Victorian Lachlan Ford Belt, focusing on orogenic gold, porphyry, precious and base metals, and strategic minerals, including lithium, tin, and tantalum. Presenting today, we have James Chirnside, who is the Managing Director of Dart Mining. If you have any questions throughout James's presentation, please feel free to use the Zoom chat function. Over to you, James.
Thanks very much, Laura, and good afternoon to everyone. I've got a lot of slides here, so some of them I'll flick through fairly quick. I'm going to present, I hope, a bit of an overview of Dart Mining and what we're focused on right now. Goes without saying that commodity prices generally are very encouraging. There's a lot of tailwinds out there, and particularly for those exposures which Dart has got in the northeast of Victoria. So everyone saw the forward-looking statements and caution there. This is a corporate directory. The presentation will be available afterwards, so I won't spend any time going through that. Safe to say, actually, we do have on the board myself, Mr. Carl Swenson. Carl's a very experienced geologist. He was chief geologist for Normandy Mining back in the day. We've got Dr. Dennis Clark, who worked with Troy Resources, and Mr. Luke Robinson. So they're the people you're dealing with. Straight into the projects, summary of all of our projects. The way we view our portfolio is in three quite distinct deposit styles or commodity exposures. We have orogenic gold up the top there. Dart presently sits on 9 historic gold fields, which we've got names against, as you can see. We also, Dart's probably original flagship project was the Mount Unicorn molybdenum deposit up at Corryong. That is a porphyry deposit. We have, since the discovery of Unicorn in 2008, discovered numerous other porphyries in the northeast. We're currently very focused, and I'll get into more detail on it, on Granite Flat, which is a combination of lode style orogenic gold and also copper gold porphyry. I'll talk more to that in a minute. Dart was the first company to discover lithium pegmatites in any quantity on the east coast of Australia in 2016. We did quite a lot of work on it in 2017 and 2018. We did various aerial surveys, rock chip sampling, etc. We parked the lithium prospectivity for a time when the lithium carbonate price collapsed. About 6 months ago, we resumed work on our lithium prospects, and I'll talk more to that in our scheduled work slide towards the end of this presentation. Granite Flat, that is the project that we are most focused on right now, although we do tend to operate at least a couple of different exploration programs concurrently. But right now, Granite Flat copper gold porphyry project is the focus of all of our efforts. So we did some RAB drilling there towards the end of last year. We've done some more RC drilling, and we're using our own in-house diamond drill rig, which right as we speak is drilling into what we are convinced of is a copper gold porphyry near the township of Mitta in the Mitta Valley, northeast of Victoria. So the grades that we, the hits that we had last year, towards the end of last year, was like November, I think we finished the program up. There was a very big delay on getting assay results through at that time, but we had some fantastic results back from it. 19 metres at 9.39. You can see there, including 3 metres at 41 grams. That's in the lode style type gold that I mentioned before. You can see the other results there are very encouraging as well. I think probably the standout for us, apart from the very good gold, were some of the hits that we had on the copper. And, you know, 0.61%, 9 metres, including 3 metres at 1.52% from 28 metres, was a fantastic hit. We have since, I'll talk more to our other activities at Granite Flat since that drilling program shortly, but we are convinced that we're dealing with a porphyry style deposit there. There's lots of hard evidence of that. The only thing that will prove it ultimately is some deep drilling. I think the deepest that we've been to on Granite Flat to date, it was an RC hole recently completed to 184 odd metres. I think from the program that we did last year, the really encouraging thing was out of the 42 holes that we drilled on Granite Flat, I think 30 of them were significantly mineralised. I think 7 or 8 holes actually were mineralised throughout and terminated in mineralisation. So what we're seeing is, albeit fairly low grade copper and in some parts fairly low grade gold too, but we're seeing very big meters. And so that's all pointing from our perspective to a bulk tonnage type discovery. And we've got a lot more work to do on it. And I'll explain to you what we're about to do on that in a minute. So that's Granite Flat gold. Right at the moment, we're about halfway through a 3,500 metre RC program. We're about 400 metres into our own in-house drill rig, which you can see up there on the right. We're about 400 metres into a 1,000 metre initial program, but we've got an awful lot more deep drilling to do, diamond drilling, core drilling on that, and we will be, we're going to be there for some time. We've also completed 16 kilometres of geophysics survey, IP and MT. We have had the results of that, or the data acquisition from that, all interpreted, and we are about to, as we've foreshadowed, about to release results on that very, very soon. Safe to say everything that we've seen looks good. Moving on, BUCKLAND Gold Project, that's further to the south of Granite Flat down near Bright, Myrtleford and Bright. An amazing gold project in its own right. Dart originally drilled it back in 2008. In fact, we've got a very small gold resource on Fairleys, which is contained within this BUCKLAND Gold Project. But the standout on BUCKLAND, it's in terms of deposit style, it's a series of stacked shear zones over, and we've seen from soil sampling, I think we've done 7,500 soil samples through the area, which some of which you can see there on that diagram and on the right-hand side. But we have seen disseminated gold that kind of comes out from these high-grade pods, which are all very on exactly the same bearing along strike, these high-grade pods, the disseminated gold coming out from those, covering a distance so far of 17.5 kilometres, and it remains open to the south. So the scale of BUCKLAND, again, low grade, but the potential tonnage there is fantastic. Our model thus far has been it's worked for us very well. We'll be getting back to BUCKLAND very early next year after we've done a bit more work at Granite Flat. So there's some RAB drilling results there from last year. You know, they're not bonanza style, which are often associated with the northeast. But the encouraging thing for us is that we have seen mineralisation as deep as 200 metres from holes that Dart drilled many years ago, back in 2008. Another gold project for us, slightly different style of mineralisation, is at Rushworth, which is more central Victoria. It's actually not that far from Fosterville. It's only 45 k's to the northeast. We've done a minimal amount. We did some RC drilling there this year. We had some very encouraging results from it. It's an old historic gold field. There has been production from there. The thing that killed the old miners at Rushworth was the water table. They couldn't get down below it. We would have no problem with that if we were to develop the mine. That's Rushworth, great project as well. To our technology and particularly lithium, but also technology metals, and people, we use the terminology technology metals simply because there is a lot more to it than pure lithium. So DART discovered the first lithium fertile pegmatites on the East Coast in 2016. We reckon there's about 3,000 pegmatites. BHP surveyed and mapped the area during the 1980s. Unfortunately, they didn't assay for any lithium. They did assay for tin and tantalum, and they had some very good hits. We too have had some very good hits, particularly in tantalum. We've had some great hits up to about 1.62% lithium oxide on a couple of these dikes. We've recently, this year, completed a LiDAR survey of the area, which has uncovered a heck of a lot more lithium pegmatites, as well as tracks, unused drill pads, and all sorts of things. So the LiDAR survey that we conducted earlier on this year has been fantastic. But just going through the abundance of elements there, talking lithium, tin, tantalum, tungsten, cesium. We've had some very big hits in niobium, and we've even discovered some prospectivity, though it needs a fair bit more work in the rare earth space. But we do need to do more work on that before we talk too much about it. DART's original flagship discovery, as I mentioned earlier, was Mount Unicorn Porphyry. So that was in 2008. Unfortunately, it was a molybdenum dominant porphyry. The moly price has actually come back quite substantially this year. It's about $24, $25 US per pound, which is almost enough incentive for us to want to dust Unicorn off and do some more work on it. It remains a very good exploration target, despite the fact that we actually have a 200 million tonne molybdenum silver copper resource on it. But yeah, the porphyry that we're most interested in right now that we're working on is sometimes referred to as Empress, but actually Granite Flat would be the area. So the schedule of work for the remainder of this year and next involves more work, geophysical data acquisition, which we've completed now. We've actually completed the interpretations on that as well. And as I said to you, we'll be announcing the results of that interpretation pretty soon. We have a low impact drilling program, low impact RC program, a low impact diamond drilling program. We're halfway through the RC program. The diamond drill is operating 5 days a week. Well, in fact, they're running 10-4 rotations on that. So we're probably doing 20 or 25 meters a day with the diamond rig. So we're continuing with that. And on the lithium pegmatites, we've got some low impact RC drilling that we want to do on a dike that we call the Eagle Dike. It's spodumene mineral, lithium mineral. We've had some good hits on it, up to about 1.6%. We've had some channel sampling over 5 odd meters at 0.94. So that's very encouraging. We also have some work to do on the Glen Wills lithium properties. So next year, first half, we hope to get back to BUCKLAND and do some RC drilling. We'd like to do some geophysics down at BUCKLAND as well. The geophysics program from our perspective at Granite Flat was very good this year. and we're keen to roll that out to one or two other of these projects. The other thing that we took a lease over a couple of years ago, still in application, is the Walwa Tin Mine up near Walwa. It was operating up until about 1975 and was abandoned. As far as I can make out, it was because of a very poor tin price, but as most of you would be aware, the tin price is actually trading on almost record levels at the moment, at about $35,000 a tonne on the LME. And then in the second half, we'll get back to BUCKLAND, or we'll continue at BUCKLAND actually, and do some more work on the S-Dale lithium pegmatites. And we would really like to do some geophysics and diamond drilling on some of our Corryong porphyries, including Gentle and Mount Morgan, where we have actually done some drilling in the past, and Stacey's. So, and some low impact drilling potentially at Walwa as well. So just to give you an idea of what our exploration pipelines look like, here's for the lithium and strategic minerals pipeline. So that just shows you the two different areas of going from the left, Midamitta and Corryong. And then you can see the actual projects in the Dorchap Range, which is in the Midamitta Valley, and then Glen Wills project. So that's the lithium strategic metals. We have the same sort of pipeline for our porphyry exploration activities. You'll see Mount Unicorn there on the right. That is the most advanced, and it's advanced to the point of resource. I think it's 209 million tonnes at inferred resource, inferred and indicated actually on Mount Unicorn. So there's the Orogenic gold exploration pipeline, lots of projects there across 9 different historic gold fields. That's our tenement status. And why DART? Well, I think we have an exceptional and very commanding tenement position, about 6,000 square kilometres of ground throughout the mountainous region of northeast Victoria. We've got multiple commodity exposures, with all of which have enjoying strong tailwinds. We are logistically independent. We, with our in-house drilling capability, we have a remote and transportable camp for our workers, which kept us out of a lot of trouble last year during the shutdowns associated with COVID. We've been operating in Victoria exclusively since 2007. Most of our ground is quite remote. Most of our exploration targets are remote, not around any communities or whatever. They're on Crown land state forests, and we have an exceptionally good technical and operating team. That's all from me, short and sharp, and I'm very happy to take any questions if anyone's got any.
Thanks so much for that, James. We do have a few questions for you. Someone has asked on the chat if you can please detail what the plan is to fund the ongoing drilling and project development.
Yep. Well, as with all exploration companies, we'll be raising more capital soon. We'll need to do that to continue the pace of our exploration activities. DART has never been more busy on the ground than it has been in the last 12 months. We've done a lot of basic work, which we would have preferred to have done a long time ago, but didn't have the money, in the form of the geophysics programs and the LiDAR surveys. They've been tremendously helpful. But to answer the question, yeah, we'll need to raise some more money fairly soon.
And you went into quite a bit of detail around lithium in your Northeast Victoria projects. Could you please detail around what the plan is for your lithium prospects?
Yeah, well, I indicated there in the work schedule that we'll be doing some RC drilling on the Eagle Dyke. It's very hard to estimate the tonnage of a dike like that because you're not sure how it's dipping below surface. But what the LiDAR survey did throw up was the Eagle Dyke has been that was kind of our discovery dike. It's a spodumene mineral. It's going to depth, we know that. We've put one hole through it. And the LiDAR survey actually threw up an extension to that dike of some 300 odd metres. So we're talking about a dike that may be up to 500 or 600 metres at surface. And so you'd expect from that, depending on how it dips below surface, you'd expect some fairly significant tonnage out of it.
And jumping to your gold and copper results now. So you did mention the Granite Flat a project, and that's been a focus for drilling over the past year. Can you tell us anything else about this project, or just to recap what you spoke about in the presentation?
Well, I think the most important thing to understand now is that the results of our geophysics program, the IP and MT surveys that we completed through winter in a metre of snow, the results of that will largely, the interpretation of that will largely determine exactly where we're going to be drilling from here on in. I can't really talk specifically about it because we haven't released those results yet, or that interpretation, but we will be doing that very soon. I think it's fair to say that it's been a tremendous help in enabling us to become more refined in our targeting for drilling.
Thanks so much, James, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks very much for having me.